Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. When the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. It is Friday. We're going to be chilling today, I think, because there's no news or anything like it. It's been a long time since we've had a Friday with no news, but those have been, like, often some of my worst days. I don't know. I know, but there might be some opportunities because the market's doing crazy stuff. I got to fix my microphone. I'm going to do it after all this. Okay. To the charts. Okay. So S&P 500 was doing just fine when I left you guys yesterday, but as the day ran on, it just turned so dismal. And then market closed somewhere right here. This is the market close, right? And then Netflix happened. Oh my gosh. Netflix just got absolutely destroyed. Down like what, 30% now on the year? It's crazy. So that dragged the indexes lower. Treasuries popped up there. Pretty good pop. I tell you what, yesterday there was so little action for us, and I wanted to buy it. Well, it turned out eventually, but now oil took a pretty big hit off of that too. I'm a little upset. I want them to be above 85 by the end of today. I don't know. Oil does seem to be more about the supply and is a little bit disconnected from demand out there right now. But I don't know. Now, another thing we got to keep in mind with ES, there might be a rally. There is some pretty crazy gamma out there, and it's a very negative gamma. So we could see a rally today, and if not today, very likely on Monday. Based on the options. Okay, natural gas chilling out yesterday. Gold and silver, well, gold and silver saw a little bit of pressure, but they're holding it, and they're all okay. And copper seems to be okay as well. And then we got to get into I guess this really should be the big one, shouldn't it? But look at Bitcoin, man. So when we touched 40K before, you know, it was like pretty ugly and then just easy bounce, right? This time they just ripped through it. Look at that. Just absolutely demolished. Okay, we are now to MSTR average levels. So this would get brutal. And that we've done it on a Friday to remember that sometimes you get these really insane moves on weekends. I think I would be keeping an eye on that, especially if they sell into the afternoon in Bitcoin and the dollar. Well, actually, the dollar is not changed all that changed. They're still at 95.5, and it hasn't gotten much stronger or weaker. So that is very curious to me. So yeah, let's see. Let's just double check here on the docket. I do think that there's there is Canadian retail sales and export numbers here in a minute or so. And, there is U.S. leading index at 10 o'clock. But generally, this is a really light news day. So I think that what we're going to do, I will still keep an eye on the markets here, but we can, of course, we'll try and have some fun. Man, I had a TikTok blow up yesterday, so we can talk about that. And maybe we can work on some videos. Yeah, maybe we can work on some scripts. So let's see here. But first, before we do all of that, I come back over here. How you doing? Good morning, YouTube Finance. Good morning, Mustafa Sifa. That's a new name. Okay, let's fix my microphone here. It's kind of ski-wampus. There we go. Okay, well, there's the numbers. Canadian retail sales month over month, spot 7 versus an expected 1, spot 2. So not a complete disaster like the US numbers, but not much of a market reaction there to that. All right. Georgieva asked if it's time for China. Who is that? Who is Georgieva? I don't even know how to say it. I've literally never seen that before. Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund. Ah. Well, her opinion might matter. Yes, her opinion might matter. Oh, any opinion on Blackbird? Oh, yes. So let's see here. I can't remember what that one does. Oh, is that the trade management? I don't know. So like it looks really good. I did post a risk management module for NinjaTrader in the downloads channel of the Discord. I didn't really see many people like say anything about it. Maybe we need to put it somewhere else, but it kind of does some things where you have like oh well, this is a little bit more on a trade by trade basis, huh? Min reward risk ratio, exit trade when loss exceeds, allow waiting to stop. Loss during trade, allow upscaling, downscaling, enforce max constraints. I've never used it. It kind of sounds like something that you could do yourself, but hey, there's a 330-day trial. So I don't know. A lot of those things, the Shark Indicators is seems to be a really well put together company, I must say. But like Bloodhound in particular is like, guys, you're so much better off just learning to code. You're just so much better off learning to code. No disrespect to Shark Indicators. So, but they do have some good stuff. They have those bars, those special Renko bars, yeah, the bar types and a heat map. They're not bad. They've been nice to me before. They've actually commented on a video before, in fact. Oh man, okay, let's blow our nose here. Yeah, nothing really coming out of me. It's just really, really thick mucus. So I should probably drink a ton of water here. You never liked custom Renko? Well, I mean, I think it makes sense because then you can backtest bars with that type, but I've never heard of anybody finding a great edge from doing that. And generally speaking, I think that the reason that people like Renko bars is exactly why you shouldn't use them, right? They give you a better view of the trend, and how do they do that? By lying to you. They do that by lying to you. And so when you look at the chart, it's like, oh yeah, it's super, super clear. This is an uptrend and all I got to do is buy it. But when it's actually happening, it doesn't work out that way because they change the chart after the fact to make the trend more clear. So I don't recommend them. I used to just be like, yeah, nah, but now I'm like firmly, nah, you're better off not using Renko bars. The microphone still, when I look at it, it looks like tilted. But so did you guys see this video I posted yesterday? I put it up on YouTube Shorts. I wish that it wouldn't show up as like in the subscriber feed, but it does unless I upload it manually, which I'm too lazy to do. But I did upload a short yesterday because it was doing really well on TikTok, and I woke up this morning and it was so crazy. It was so crazy. Where is it? It's right here. I didn't even give it a good name. And now we have to do this. We have to. You saw that? It's funny, dude. When I was making it, I thought it was hilarious. I was, like I had the idea when I woke up in the morning, and then I totally forgot about it. And then later in the day, I was like, "Oh yeah, I should do this." So I did it, and I just kind of came up with a couple of jokes on the spot. But by the time I was done, I was like, "Dude, I'm freaking hilarious."
Today on Capitalism, Peloton halted production of its overpriced bike with an iPad, and Netflix subscribers realized that Squid Game is the only good show they ever made. Meanwhile, Jeremy Grantham says the same thing we've all been thinking for the last 2 years. And while our heroes at the Federal Reserve were talking about making FedCoin, investors sold all the things. Will Joe Biden ever take his foot out of his mouth? Will the Federal Reserve be able to keep up their hawkish tilts? Find out next time on Capitalism. Today on.
So like if the show was, I was trying to make it like Dragon Ball Z, right? You ever seen those? That's why at the end of it there always has to be all of these questions that they ask, and some of them are kind of third wall breaking, right? But like if you think about it from that perspective, right? And which character is which character? Who is our lovable goofball Goku in financial markets? Well, I'll tell you who it's not. It's not Joe Biden, right? It's Joe Biden is one of those side characters that were the comic relief, right? The sound effect, right? I want to make one. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I want to make one where I just try and sing the whole song. You know, but I yelling. There you go. Yeah. So I decided to make it as like that the policymakers, like the people at the Federal Reserve and the Treasury, are the core group of heroes, and everybody else are the side characters. Is kind of the way that I thought I would do it. Because if apparently I'm doing this every day now. 'Cause I got so many responses to that. It's really something else, because I've posted videos before. Like I posted a video that had 200,000 views once. So more than this one. Way more than this one. 100 times more than this one, in fact. No, actually, I think this one is almost at 10K. So maybe this one will get there. But and there was some comments on it, and it was kind of funny. But the comments on this video were just like, "Oh, I love this so much. Keep doing it. Keep doing it." It's like, wow. Okay, like if in case I needed any kind of sign that the audience liked it and that I should do it some more, right? So I guess we'll be doing it a lot. But yeah, and we can make like Putin and Kim Jong Un like the bad guys. Like Kim Jong Un is like Emperor Pilaf, and and hopefully I'm just able to continue to make pretty good jokes on the headlines, because I feel like I was lucky that I was just like, there was some good stuff happened yesterday, right? Oh man, I ain't blowing my nose again. That's real banter. Yeah. So we'll do it, man. I have to say though, all joking aside, when I look at this market, it's a little scary to me. Like I was feeling really good about myself and my portfolio's performance and everything until oil got slaughtered yesterday, as along with everything else. I mean, that was like a $2 down move. Like that was pretty ugly, right? So, there is some real fear out there, and the thing is that I don't feel it at all. You know, like there have been times where I have to come back and remind myself, like, okay, let's come back over to the chart. Like, where actually are we on a relative basis? Because aren't we just still like a hot skip and a jump from? Well, okay, yeah, that's not too far off from like the all-time highs. But like all of these doomers are coming out and being like 2,500. It's like that is a real market decline if that happened. Where's our daily ES? I have too many of these charts, right? I mean, even above 4,000 is still like, wow, that's amazing, right? These guys are saying we're going to go all the way back to here, which, hey, you know what? That doesn't sound crazy to me, but still, from my perspective, we're just kind of like off of all-time highs. But then I look at some of the price action and it's like, whoa. Like they are really terrified about something. And if it really happens, it's going to be ugly. Like it's just getting started. But then on the other hand, I look at it and I'm like, oh, okay, so is this the point where you need to like sell everything? But then I'm like, no, because you're going to sell it all and it's going to roar back up to all-time highs like immediately, because that's what they always freaking do. You know, so I'm, I'm starting, it's starting to scare me a little bit, but I'm still just kind of like, hey, you do your thing, markets. Feedback of scalers, we pay too much commission, we need a discount there. Hey, listen, I'm totally in favor of giving retail traders a handicap, okay? Too soon. Man. I don't know. Thing we got to keep in mind is that some of these people that are like really calling it doom and stuff are people that have been kind of basically been short like this whole time. So I don't know. If the market really started to go into like a recession, then the Federal Reserve would be like, okay, maybe we don't actually have to raise interest rates. It's fine. I don't know. Nah, I think that they have to raise it at least once. I think that they have to at least do one in March because inflation, right? If they don't do one in March, then nobody will ever take them seriously. So I think that they're really likely to do that. But man, blowing my nose is like was so freeing. I can just fresh air into my nostrils. And the room is relatively cool this morning, which I'm liking. Well, our oil is doing pretty nice. I'm liking what I'm seeing in oil so far. They've got a long way to go though, right? Oh yeah. Well, they're coming into like yesterday's lows. So, well, not lows from before they fell out of favor. So, they might get back into the 86 range. Maybe it's possible. Yesterday I quit too early. Yesterday was a disaster for me, man. It wasn't a disaster. It was fine, but man, it was some of the worst trading in the treasuries that I've seen in years. And that it was like, I mean, we're literally talking about like a 5-tick range for our whole session. And the fact that it was doing that when we've been trading like almost a full point in some of the sessions this week, it was really bizarre to me. I was very taken off guard by it. I probably shouldn't have taken as many trades as I did, but they were all just, regular sized losers, and so it was nothing that can't be overcome. But I was just like, it was very, very bad action. The thing was, a part of it was that I was like, I took the 2 and then like I knew that that was bad action. But I thought, well, it'll get better because they're just waiting for this news, right? But then this, certain news come out. It was still awful, right? What? The Bitcoin Shaki says we are anti-fragile. This doesn't scare me, Maestro, to Nassim Nicholas Taleb, and he says famous last words. Most people talking about anti-fragility haven't read what I wrote on anti-fragility. Yeah, probably. I haven't read it. Yeah, and then that's the other thing, FTH, is that ES was all over the place and Xian didn't move at all. It is unnatural. It is unnatural. What is what is it doing? We talked about this yesterday, didn't we? Listen, I don't want to be like, listen, if I really don't like somebody, like if I think that they're like an outright scam or whatever the deal is, then I will just not talk about them. I would just ignore you, or even frankly ban you if I really thought that you were like trying to drum up, discussion to try and help somebody or something. So I have nothing personal against Trades by Matt. He seems like a really, really great guy. But I also think that he's a degenerate gambler, and I don't think that the audience necessarily realizes it. Hey, listen, I am a degenerate gambler sometimes. Not sometimes. I think that when I make money, it's because we're taking on a lot of risk, right? Now, I think the thing that separates me from most other traders or traders that trade live, or should we say that have a live stream, right, is that I very much try and rely on being an informed trader. Matt is mostly price action, which I think is just bullshit. But, so that is something that separates us. But we still have to realize that we're still only able to make the profits when we do make profits by taking on excessive risk. And from the stuff that I see, I don't see an acknowledgement of that, Anytime that we talk about making money, there should be an equally stressed statement about the risk that was involved, right? That you could have just as easily have lost that same amount, if not more. Anthony Crudelli says, when markets get busy, don't get caught up in the moment, seize the moment. Yeah, there you go. Like it's all about realizing when you got something and pushing it as hard as you can. I think in the end, so something I'm realizing, man, I have been reading Taleb, and the question in my mind is always like, okay, most traders, retail traders should we say most retail traders? I don't know. A lot of retail traders don't realize that markets are not Gaussian, right? They think, okay, well, if markets are Gaussian, then if I get a data point that is outside of the norm, then I should like fade it on the assumption that it's going to come back into the norm, right? And we know that doesn't work because markets are fat-tailed. And so the question that I have that I haven't seen an answer from Taleb, and frankly, I'm not sure if I'm going to get an answer because Taleb is an options trader, not a scalper. But the question from Taleb is like, okay, so if you know what the range of, if we know that the range of 1 minute bars in ES follows a power law distribution, and we have a formula for what that distribution is, then how do you take advantage of that? Is it like you fade it when it reaches a certain point, and how do you determine that point? Or do you try and go with it when it reaches a certain point? Or is it like, how do you do that? And maybe it doesn't work that way because, again, with Taleb, you can use options and you can set things up so that if it does work out, you're just going to get paid so much, right? Scalping, it's kind of hard because if you try and play that game, you're going to lose so many times and your account might not be able to handle it, right? But I'm also sitting there going like, well, if you try and do something where it's like equal risk reward, you win, you make, $10, you lose $10. As a retail trader, I don't think that will ever work out. Because unless you're trading a market that is really inefficient or has a correlation that isn't being exploited very well and is really reliable, like the Gary Norton style of trading, right? You really would have to have something. You'd have to be doing it in the right instrument, right? Because ultimately markets are fat-tailed, and so if they're fat-tailed, then you want to find the ones where it's really going and run with it. I'm hoping that that's kind of maybe what we've done with these little market recaps that we did on TikTok, because that really people really liked that. So if we keep doing that for a week or two, who knows where we go with that? That's kind of the way they look at it. Or I'm looking at it right now. Large capital move price aggressively. You have to act without averaging. Yeah. Well, the thing another thing that's really bothering me, well, I mean, we had a discussion about it, kind of like we went back and forth, is like I went through this whole thing, was like, okay, so if you actually go and do a spreadsheet of it and you say, what's your average risk reward when you're scaling out, right? And here's how much you make if the first contract hits, and this is what happens if the second one hits and it goes back, and all of those different situations, and how will it come out on average. And I went in there and I based all of those percentages on break even. And Futures Trader 71 was like, well, but most people don't break even on that. Most people beat that percentage. And it was immediately, I could immediately see the problem with that. I was like, you're assuming a Gaussian world, right? The percentage likely is going to come to that break-even point, but it's going to take a really crazy market event for you to see it first. And so you'll think that all of your traders are performing at this certain level, and then when it all falls apart, you decide to just discard those samples that actually show you that the fat tail. So again, the reality of it is you're taking on risk. This was when I was talking to Futures Trader 71. We're tweeting about it. And so I said that I was like, well, you're probably not going to see that until you run into the fat tail. And you didn't respond to it after that. Right? And what I want to see is an acknowledgement that, oh yes, scaling out essentially is a way to manipulate the risk and make money by taking on more risk. I still believe markets have exploitable behavior. Well, I do too. It's just, how do I put this? I think that the market has lots of exploitable behaviors, but I think that there's two caveats. Number one, you might not be able to take advantage of those. And number two, the distribution of the profitability of it is not going to be very consistent. If it's a behavior that you can exploit, that you as a retail trader can really take advantage of, it's probably not going to be something that you make a reliable amount on every day, right? I think the big problem for me has been that I'm looking for something that I'm going to come in and make $200 on every day. And the more and more I do this, the more I realize that if you go for a strategy like that, then you just make yourself vulnerable to a blow up when you run into a fat tail market event, right? Those who trade with him understand market. That's the difference between them and you. But yeah, I don't understand what you're saying there. I'm the I hope the thing that differentiates my audience from other people's audiences is that you guys are more informed, right? I do believe that. I would put you guys up against another creator's group of people. I don't think that there's any way to like do a contest like that fairly. So I don't think that will ever happen. But I would totally be willing to put you guys up for it because I do think that you guys are informed more than your regular trading audience. And there are some of you guys that are really good and are frankly probably better at this than me. Do you think that there is a trader that makes 100% a year? Well, I'm sure that there are. I'm betting you that there's probably a number of people that in the past year made more than 100%. Yes. So, Mark Minervini, they're doing their 2021 trading contest. He made like 80%, I think. Was it 80%? I don't recall. I'm kind of wonder though with him that it's the same thing that if 2022 is bad that he'll get destroyed, but we'll see. But for you to make that 5 years in a row, probably not. Probably not. You can make X amount per day provided you have a fixed drawdown and max drawdown. I don't know. I guess we have found a couple of technically based strategies that appear to be profitable over time, even though they might have bigger drawdowns than you would like. But you could still trade them over a 5-year period and have made money. You just wouldn't be able to trade a combine with them, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, a combine, the parameters for the combine, that's what I think people think of as like consistency. Like you come in and you're making a certain amount of money every day off of this tiny account. And I think that that's kind of in our minds, everybody in retail futures trading kind of put that as their standard, like the golden standard of the kind of performance that you want to have if you've become professional and you've made it. And the reality is that performance is unrealistic. If you're getting that kind of performance, then you're taking on a lot of risk in ways that you might not realize, and that is likely to blow up your account if you come into certain market conditions. Right? And TLA says there are none of them. There are mechanical traders. Yeah. And again, like a lot of what we believe, or a lot of the reason why we have these kinds of expectations is because people in the 90s did do this. It's just that the robots came along and stole it from them. Oh, there you go. Remember yesterday when I was like, how come Futures Trader 71 is starting at like 6:45, but today he's doing it at 7. So I guess it's not consistent every day. The capital is too. Yeah, it is. I mean, but I think that that's on purpose, right? What they want to do is they want to make money on you when you're the hot hand. And then when you blow up, they cut you off real quickly, right? That's the way that they do it. And you know what? That's kind of what I'm saying you should do, isn't it? When you know that you've got something, you push it. because markets have fat tails, and the fat tails go both ways. And so there are some traders that during short periods are going to do crazy well because of certain strategies. The difference there, though, is that they are able to make money off of everybody else failing too. So they can have that, that consistent income to kind of, fill in the gaps. Whereas if you're trying to use a high R strategy as a retail trader, it's kind of hard for you to fill in the gaps because you're just bleeding that whole time. Yep, it's a business model. And I have no problem. Anybody wants to go and do that, then do that. As long as you understand what you're doing. I think sometimes the way that it's marketed is kind of detrimental. That's why I stopped promoting combines. Because I realized that by doing this, what I'm doing is I'm putting the idea in beginners' heads that this is what they should be shooting for, and it's not, in my opinion. He has a newborn and has to take his daughter to school. Are you talking about Matt? Well, I mean, I have to do stuff sometimes too. But like I said, if there's somebody that I really didn't like, I would just refuse to talk about them. But now I'm kind of like, hey, let's start. Hey, Matt, you want to have FT71? Oh, okay. Well, he does have a newborn. That's true. I forgot about that. So maybe the schedule has been inconsistent lately. Is that what it is? Do combine companies even make real trades for you? Some of these companies, when you get funded, they are not actually sending your trades to the market. They still pay you what you make, but they're not actually sending your trades to the market, which is a little like, what? But hey, I don't know. Anyways, we can have feuds. We can have feuds, right? I was looking at, because I was watching a Devin Nash video the other day. This thing kind of makes me mad, to be honest. The title of the video was "Twitch bans are a vacation for streamers," and it totally is. Like, they don't actually ban people. It'll be like you're gone for 3 days and then you're back. And when you're back, you make 3 times. You have 3 times more viewers than you had before. It's absolutely ridiculous. And so it's actually encouraging Twitch streamers to do controversial stuff, to start feuds with people, and to do stupid stuff. And there are a lot of people at the top of the social media hierarchy, whatever, that are doing this kind of stuff. That the reason that they got there in the first place was because they started drama. So I'm sitting here like, well, hey, listen, if there was anybody that I really truly didn't like if we were in a room, I would want to punch them in the face. I'm not going to straight up talk about them. So if I'm talking about them, that means that I like them to some degree, right? But if we were going to make the day trader tier list, day trader influencer, tier list, right? Then we're going to put Trades by Matt and myself in the degenerate gambler category, and we can put Futures Trader 71 in the has-beens category, right? Because he had a period where he did really well, and then the market fell apart. That was because he started out day trading stocks back in the 2000 bubble. Yep. Because it never works out for them. Most people never get funded and just pay crazy expensive subscription fees. Yeah, it really is. I think there's a lot of people that if they just went and traded their own account and traded sim, that $50 a month is less than $150 a month, right? So there are people out there that have been doing these combines for years, in fact, and are probably paying 3 times more money than they need to just have the ability to trade for fun, But you do that because you get the opportunity that if you do well, you could get funded and you could potentially make a bunch of money. Trading with 1 million is way easier than to trade with 50K. Yes and no. So a lot of the problems that we have do kind of go away when you're having a large amount. So think of it like this way. There must be some sort of a mathematical model to this. Say you have a piece of information that you know will cause future people, that you know when it is disseminated to the rest of the market will cause people to buy the thing. Okay, like the treasuries, for instance. Say we have a piece of information that we know when the rest of the market finds out, they're going to be like, oh, this is really bad. We should buy treasuries. Okay, we have a piece of information like that. But when we've looked at models in the past, for instance, the Kyle model is basically like at a certain point in time, that information is going to be revealed to the market and price is going to go to that area. So there's the inefficiency, the space between here and there, that's the inefficiency, and yada, yada, yada. But the way that things work in real markets tends to be a little bit more complicated than that, right? Because information is asymmetric. Not everybody knows everything. And so I might have a piece of information that I know is going to cause other people to buy, but when are other people going to find that piece of information out, right? And it might take time for those other people to see it. So if I trade that piece of information as soon as I have it, I might lose on the trade simply because I got in too early. I get in so early that that piece of information isn't really having an effect on the market yet, right? So that kind of presupposes that you don't necessarily want to be the first person to trade it, do you? Right? You want us as a retail trader, we want there to be evidence that this thing is starting to move the market, but that we can get in now and it will continue to roll as everybody else figures it out. That's the sort of trade that we want, right? But if you're trading 1 million, that's less of a problem, right? Because when you go in and you do your trade, that's going to have a clear impact on the market. And so now other people are going to look at it and say, okay, this is something's going on. They're going to go out and they're going to look, and then they're going to find the piece of information that you had, and then they'll go, oh, okay, and then they'll buy it up, right? So that's an advantage of being a large player. But the disadvantage of being the large player is that you get you have the impact, and the impact works against you, really, is as you buy it, it's going to move the thing up. And then even if a bunch of people bought it too, if you try to immediately turn around and sell, on average, you're going to lose money, right? So if you're going to pull a trade off like that, like, you really have to have a good trade, right? So there's a lot of trades that as a retail trader, like maybe yesterday, for instance, we took a couple of trades that we got a few ticks off of it, right? And we could have just said, okay, well, it's not really going, but we're just going to take our profits here, right? But as a large trader, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can get out anywhere that you want, but you're going to lose money, right? You got in and it didn't really go anywhere, you get out. For me as a retail trader, I could pocket those 2 ticks, but if you were trading $1 million, you wouldn't, right? You would just lose. So you get some advantages, and it just kind of opens up other disadvantages, right? There's no silver bullet. Everything is like managing risks and pluses and minuses and everything to create a system that gives you a certain kind of performance, and you kind of have to make your decisions about what kind of performance you want to see. And yeah, the way that you trade when you're trading $1 million is different than when you're trading a $1,000 account. Yeah. Just remember that the square root law of meta order impact means that the larger the order gets, there becomes an upper limit on the impact that something has. But that also means that for things that are relatively small and are still having that linear impact, a meta order can have a much larger effect on price than you think. It means that 1% of the volume can be responsible for 10% of the volatility. Right? So when you start trading size, it matters, and it ends up mattering a lot faster than retail traders think it would. Which is why so many people, they'll make a ton of money and then immediately blow it. They don't realize the impact that they have. and the shall we say, the savvy ones that are willing to take advantage of people realize that they have that impact and decide to just, buy it and then tell all of their subscribers and pocket the money off of that instead. Right? Man, my lips are like shedding here. Shortage all driving me crazy. This is my ADHD is like, if there's something uncomfortable, it's like I can't focus. I feel like I have to fix it. Even if you trade 1 million, you can't trade more than a 5 lot. I mean, I'd have to go and do some math, but I think that you could trade like, I think you could trade $50 50 lot clips, but you probably wouldn't want to buy all of those all at once. By the way, this trend up that we had, I kind of was like, well, I don't know if I want to take a trade. I'm going to sit back, but I am going to watch the market here. Well, the S&P 500 moved down, but the treasuries moved up quite a bit. And now okay, let's just double check here. I've been watching the news squawks and everything, but it's possible that in the last, has it really been almost an hour now? Wow. Is there something in the last hour that we missed? Bitcoin falls through 38. Oh, yeah, let's modify that so we can see that. Okay. There was the export stuff.
Slightly more on the German headline about the country's growth prediction for 2022 reduced to 3.6%. Just citing
U.S.
supply
said
bottlenecks
to weigh evacuating diplomats and family members from Ukraine. House will soon introduce its China competition bill, says Pelosi. That might be interesting. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the driver is for the treasuries to move there, but when I come back over to the chart and I look at it, well, it's just only just a little bit above the overnight highs, but it's a pretty good move. And it is, it's starting to look like they're going to retrace all of the movement since, Jamin Dimon said that, there's going to be more than, there's going to be more than 4 cuts. Do you think that is short covering? It could be. It's not really trading the same way as like a large piece of news, right? But it is like a strong flow. And having something to do with options expiration and covering, I think, is a really good guess. Is just that under current conditions, can I justify taking a trade here based off of that? I don't think I can. Next week, big earnings, Apple, Tesla, and need to see aggressive buyers, not passive dip buyers who fold. Yeah, the retail traders haven't been buying the dip, have they? I tell you what, with the way that Netflix happened, because with Netflix right now, it's kind of like, are we going to have to turn Fang into a fag? Like, I don't. Maybe they just take Netflix out of it. But if you come over and like Apple has a bad day too, then it's really gonna start to get like, uh-oh. Because that breadth, that poor market breadth,
Raimondo says Intel
will
is essential
very
on US
easily
chip building
pull
capacity.
the whole market down, you know, when it starts going the other way. Yeah, Netflix is terrible. Like, the thing that's so frustrating to me over here in the
Details there, that
treasuries
was
is
US
like yesterday
Commerce Secretary Raimondo saying
didn't
that
move.
Intel, the
Didn't move.
company,
Today,
is essential on US
is there
chip
any
building
reason for it to
capacity.
move?
It's just commenting
Not
on
that I
the
can see.
Intel move on investing
I'm not
in
sure I can see a
Ohio,
reason for it to be
investing
moving.
£20 billion on
But
chip
it
production
is.
factories.
Way more than yesterday. So I don't know, guys. I'll keep an eye on it and see if there's something I'm missing. Sometimes, though, you're just going to miss moves, right? If you're only trading when you're sure you have an edge, then these things are going to happen. Andrew Yang says Biden won't run in 2024. It's a possibility. Markets are a cedar red amid a total meltdown in anything
That was
tech and
Intel
pandemic
investing
winners.
$20 billion into a new computer chip facility in Ohio.
Stay-at-home stocks are going to get wrecked. Yeah, probably. So many of these big stocks that are they're just completely giving up everything since the whole pandemic. It's pretty crazy. I feel like sleeping in winter. I can't trade mornings. So it's like you're in hibernation. That's the I'm hibernating. What's going on here? Risk off. You know, they're holding that 10.5 really well so far. But I'm not sure that that's the price that I want to take. If I do anything, I think it's probably better for me to just kind of save my risk for next week, right? Because we got a Federal Reserve meeting, and one of the things that I think is happening right now, you got all these analysts saying stuff like, you know, the Federal Reserve might have to do a 50 basis point hike in March. They might do more than 4 raises this year. That sort of a thing, right?
On May 2020,
well, part of the reason
to May
the market is doing what it is right now is because we're in the blackout period for Fed speakers. The Fed speakers aren't allowed to do anything right now. They can't talk to media until after the FOMC meeting. So we don't actually know anything about their opinion on any of these developments that we've had in the past 2 weeks. And I've never seen it been this extreme. So we're probably going to learn a lot from from Powell speaking on Wednesday, right? And next week is probably going to be pretty volatile. Forex Live asks, where does a 21% decline in Netflix rank in the history of large cap one-day declines? That's an interesting question, but I think it probably fits right down the middle because there's definitely been big cap things that have fallen harder before. I mean, like Tesla's fallen more than that recently, right? I think.
Getting confirmation here that the Bank of Russia said the bomb threat was false.
Well, so one thing that we should remember here, 10 minutes before the ES opens, is that again, there's some pretty insane amounts of options protection expiring today. And many people are speculating that it's going to result in a strong rally either today or Monday. So maybe we want to buy this. I don't know. Because we're thinking about, actually, you know what? For fun, let's put one right there.
Seeing here from an interview with the Intel CEO, saying he hopes to announce a multi-fab European manufacturing site in the coming months.
Man. Okay. Well, I think what we're going to do is we're going to let the ES go here for a little bit, and then we should pull out one of our scripts and look at that. Yeah. Well, what do I have on my list? I'm sorry. My lips are really chapped and I'm really uncomfortable at the moment. That's why I keep pausing and everything. I need more fat in my diet. Now that make my lips less chapped. I think it's just the climate here in Utah. It's just gotten really dry as of late. Kind of does this in the winter where you get it'll get really dry, but you'll get like this haze in the valley. You can't see anything. It's really nasty out there right now. I haven't really been getting out very much this past week. Probably need to go and bask in the sun. It's okay. These white lights, they're as good as sunlight, right? Maybe? No? Probably they're not. Yeah, hey, the move that I was
Don't
looking
forget,
for
we have
there,
ECB's Lagarde
the
speaking
S&P
at the
500
bottom
just
of the
coming
hour.
through here before the open. That's a great look there.
A correction on Lagarde speaking there. Lagarde's time was moved earlier today. Those were the comments we had previously around an hour ago.
You know, if we knew what the distribution of 1 minute ranges were, we should be able to point out like where the break even point is and find out if that is different from what we typically believe is the case. And it's probably going to be a situation where, generally speaking, you think that you're losing money, but then when the Fed tells come, you bump up. I don't know what you're broadcasting from, but if you have a stove source available, go put a pot of water on to boil. Oh yeah, that's probably what I need to do. Is I probably need to go and, well, so your skin tends to absorb hot water. So probably what I need to do is go and, run my mouth under some hot water and then put Vaseline on to lock it in. But first I got to get all of the loose skin off. Right? Then it's done. You're sitting and watching this streamer. He's talking about peeling his lips. What the heck are we watching this guy for? How does the CME build the BTC order book? Do orders move price in BTC futures? Okay, so they are cash settled futures based on a index. So just like anything else, the tail kind of ends up wagging the dog and they all kind of move together. But just because you see orders in the Bitcoin futures doesn't necessarily mean that you have to see them in Coinbase. We haven't talked about this enough, but Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is like 30% below market price. I'm not 100% sure why that is, but I'm pretty sure that it's not a good thing. And like the thing is that to buy Grayscale, you have to have actual money versus regular Bitcoins, you can use Tether and everything. So some people are suggesting that just shows you how pumped up the markets are right now and how much further downside there could be. And you have to wonder, with as far as Bitcoin fell this morning, say we have another good decline here over the weekend, maybe to 33,000, right? That's when you start to get into some pretty ugly levels, right? That's where it's like micro strategy ends up down on their position, and Venice, or who is it? It's the country that tried to adopt it as its currency. That's where they would be underwater, right? Like last time around when the Bitcoin market fell apart, it got so ugly so quickly. And I still kind of wonder if we can ever have a crash in Bitcoin that's as fast. I think that we can have one that's like 80, 90% decline, of course. But one that is as fast as that, I don't know. But the thing that's different this time around is that if we have an 80 to 90% crash, there are probably some people that you have some really big players that probably get margin called. Like, I don't know how far can this go before like bondholders start forcing MicroStrategy to do things. You know what I mean? Well, I tell you what, that open, there was some really positive action into the open, and then the initial impulse on the open was pretty good too. Now they're pulling back on it now, but it was a good impulse. Maybe this is just a trend day up in ES. That kind of order flow says that that's a possibility, that it could be a trend up day. Not saying that it's going to happen, but I think it's something we should put on our list now. Yeah, we'll let this go for a little bit, and then we should talk about the video that we're going to put out a week from now. I might record it tomorrow. I might work on other bits, and I'm not going to share with you the whole script, but I want to see what you think about some of the more informational parts about it. What sort of things, because I want to know what you guys are like confused about or whatever it seems unclear about it, so that I kind of know maybe where I need to go into more detail in the video and where I don't need to. So this should be good stuff here in, maybe 15, 30 minutes. Forbes tweets, researchers found that children can overcome peanut allergy by consuming peanut protein powder in early childhood. So if they're like really young and they're kind of allergic to peanut butter, then they can become unallergic by consuming peanut butter. After receiving increasing doses of peanut protein powder for 30 months, 71% of children under 4 in the study could consume the equivalent of 16 peanuts without an allergic reaction. The study indicated that young children have a window of opportunity to treat peanut allergy while the immune system remains flexible. What this means is that I need to take my kid around other kids and get him as sick as possible in the next 2 years to make his immune system as strong as possible. That's what that means, right? We need to expose him to as much stuff as get him outside, have lots of dust in the house. Treasury is kind of suggesting they're going to move up again. Not so sure about that spot. And it looks like they're pushing up into more new highs in MES. I'm looking at that one and I'm like, man, I wish I had taken that with a live order. Because that's one of the easiest trades I've done in a long time. Well, I don't want to like babysit it, so I'm going to put my stop loss here. And I'm just going to try and let this one run all day. If this really does end up being a trend up day in ES, then this is going to end up being like the easiest, best trade ever for me. Probably not the easiest one. There was some days there, just after the worst of the pandemic that were crazy easy trades, right? YouTube Finance says, yeah, my sim account is running. Yeah. One of the regrets that I had, though, was that I took on too much risk during the depths of the the COVID crisis, and then didn't really have enough risk to really play the recovery the way that I should have. So that's kind of why I've been trying to be like a little bit hands off here. Because you think about it, one scenario is that we have the Federal Reserve meeting next week, and the Federal Reserve is still super hawkish, and the market decides to decline even further, and we have another 10% decline or something like that, right? And then there's like another leg of this lower, and but then the other situation is that like this week was like the lows, and we want to start buying next week, right? So it's probably best, instead of trying to catch that bottom part, or at least for me, that it's probably best to really let it kind of get going up a little bit first, just to make sure that you don't end up being one of the people that get washed out. Okay, I'm gonna go get a drink of water here. All right, I'll be right back. I think we are in a crash, says Big Toasty. You mean like we're in a bear market? I think we are too. I'm skeptical about how long the bear market will last, though, is kind of the problem. You know what I mean? Well, it was a really good open there, and it's coming back on me quite a bit. But I'm just gonna stick to it. All right, it's kind of for fun, anyways. If I had taken that on a live order, I think I probably should have taken it off at $100, right? Yeah, I'm really gonna need to do some statistics. Do some more statistics and find out what the real distribution in one range bars really looks like, and as such, what's the correct way to take advantage of it. So everything I've looked at has always been basing it on a Gaussian distribution. Well, Treasuries definitely came back quite a bit there. They did, I was looking at like 10 before as maybe a spot. It actually came back quite a bit more than that. It came all the way back to 8.5 at one point. How are you doing? I'm doing really well, actually. I think I'm a little dehydrated just from sleeping. And the baby like decided to be awake for a good portion of the night. This keeps happening. So that's really frustrating. What'll happen is he'll get super tired and he'll go to sleep early, like 6 o'clock, but then wake up at like 1 o'clock. It's so annoying. I guess that's the way that humans tend to be. So it's probably okay. I guess that I'm maybe I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that. Maybe what he's doing is he's doing it because that is like the natural human rhythm. And maybe my wife just needs to like go to bed earlier. Man, is it gonna give it all up? I'm gonna be so sad. Now, buyers are fighting it. Buyers are fighting it. But I'm doing really well because I had a video on TikTok to really take off, and it gave me, I made like a market recap that people thought was really funny, and like this is something that I can do every day, and I'm really happy about it. Like for the first time, I'm really like, oh wow, maybe my TikTok account will actually take off. Like, based on if the other videos continue to perform well, and chances are, I think, well, I could be dead wrong about this. Knock on wood. No. Remember, being superstitious is bad luck. Okay. But if it continues to perform like that, then we'll have more subscribers on TikTok than we do on YouTube by the end of next week. On the Jigsaw Bubbles, you can see, yeah, well, so that one's kind of tough because there's so much more volume that occurs on the open that you're always going to see a bunch of bubbles on the open, and it's kind of hard to read them. Even if we came in here and we, where is it? Oh man, I have to make it a lot wider to see it. So even if I come in here and change the circle tuner a little bit, it's still kind of hard to tell what was really going on there, right? Let's keep it at 5 though. All right. No, don't stop me out, please. Please. Yeah. Also got to remember that absorbing like that doesn't guarantee that it's going to do anything. It is, however, so the order flow that we're looking to see here is gamma unwinding and going long, buying the indexes back up today, right? So we saw a lot of confirming order to begin with, but the way that is turned down and is now testing the lows so easily is not in line with that. So it kind of puts me in limbo here. I don't think that it necessarily completely destroys the trade, but it's enough for me to be like, yeah, I guess I scratch it. But that just comes back to maybe if I go and do some more statistics, I can, because I like to try and use the order flow to see that, and I would prefer to see like a really clear liquidity hole. And with the way that played out, we didn't necessarily get a really clear liquidity hole. It kind of more like just got snapped back really quickly, right? So that one's a harder read for me. But perhaps in ES, I mean, in the treasuries, we can kind of get away with trying to do that because you see it can be so clear and they can be slower. In ES, maybe we need to rely more on hard targets and, the stats about the ranges.
Japan's Kishida, following talks with US President Biden, said, "We agreed to cooperate to
See,
realize
the
a free and
treasury's
open
coming
Indo-Pacific."
back there a little bit more. And when I look at the micros over here, that's not really encouraging me to take a trade on it. With the amount that it's moving, because it's still really hard to get $10. It was a good trade. You just didn't. Yeah, my rationale behind it was when I looked at it here. I can show you. I mean, some of this is just feel. I must admit. I was thinking we could see a buy day because of the gamma, and at the time, I had seen that we had just crossed this average true range stop, and we're kind of down a little bit. So I was looking for them to cross back up above it again, going into the open. Like basically, I was expecting that they would try and buy it before the open, and it worked out that way. Okay, so now they're buying it again. Let's try sorting something out, okay?
Japan's Kishida says, I explained my new capitalism policy to US President Biden.
Okay. If I can get my average back below 50, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Oops. Talking about our sleep circadian rhythms gain 1 hour each day. Earth is 24 hours. Mars takes 25 to complete one spin. Huh. Oh, yeah, that is interesting. Well, I think that it has a lot to do with light, though, right? Which is why we don't, most people don't wake up in the middle of the night like that. So just the way that they bounce off of those lows and everything makes me, again, that is in line with the kind of flow that we want to see. And that decline didn't necessarily ruin the trade. So that's why I'm like, okay, let's try it again with trying to take on a little bit of extra risk to help us make it happen. So this is either going to be great or a complete disaster for us. I'm doing some degenerate gambling here. Wow, Coinbase is down 10% in 15 minutes. Yeah. I feel bad for anybody that bought that one. That one was did I even say anything about it? I don't think I made a video about it, but I was kind of sour on that one from the beginning. Okay. So far, it's doing okay. They apparently know exactly where my take profit order is and didn't want to touch it.
At 10 a.m. Eastern Time or 3 p.m. UTC, we have the Eurozone Consumer Confidence Flash forecast at -9, previous -8.3. Also looking at the range of forecasts for the Eurozone Consumer Confidence Flash, seeing a high of -6.9 and a low of -12. Also having the US leading index change month over month forecast 0.8%, previous 1.1%.
Kind of looks like they're going to mess with people on both sides here.
Japan's
Yeah.
Kishida also says we agreed to work closely with Biden on North Korean missile issue.
Let's let this volume continue to pull out through here. It wouldn't even surprise me if they went for all of this. I'm sure there's a lot of stops down in the 4440 area. So you're gambling short unlike yesterday. Yeah, this could if this is the bad trade, then it's going to be a total disaster, right? And I'll just click flat and pretend that it didn't happen. Okay. Last push was a little disappointing, but it's okay. It's still kind of within the margin of error,
Japan's
right?
Kishida also says I agreed with Biden to share information on Ukraine. Seeing here in a Reuters poll, risk to pace of Bank of Canada rate rises this year is they come faster than expected, said all 15 economists. Bank of Canada rate rise by the end of March, a close call. 16 of 31 economists say unchanged. 15 said it will rise 2.5% or more. The median forecast is for the Bank of Canada to raise rate to 0.75% by the end of Q2 2022 versus no change in the December poll.
I remember
And the
this.
Bank of
This was
Canada
a
is to
price
hold a
that
key interest rate
somewhat
at
one of you guys in chat
0.25% on
had
January
pointed
26th.
out like
Say
several months
24
ago,
of
and the market
31
had reacted
economists
to a bunch.
and a 7 forecast
That's kind of
an
interesting
increase
that
to 0.5%.
that is
That's
kind
Bank of
of
Canada
this
to hold a key interest rate
bottom
at
end of this range here.
0.25% on January 26th. Say 24 of 31 economists, and the other 7 said they forecast an increase to 0.5%.
More risk? Righto. Yeah, watch the 40s. I'm thinking that they're gonna try and hit 40. It seems really weird for them to get that close to it 4 times, and not be able to touch it, right? This distribution in the 10-year is pretty nice. Even 50Ks all through there, and they've been there since 7:15. They could be ready to make another move. Hmm.
Again at 10 a.m. Eastern Time or 3 p.m. UTC, we have the Eurozone Consumer Confidence Flash, forecast -9, previous -8.3, and the US leading index change month on month, forecast at 0.8%, previous 1.1%.
Gonna try and zone in here a little bit. Should note that corn is taken off again today. Gold has kind of been an unusually choppy trade, and oil has been coming off. Did oil peak with the ES too? No, oil peaked before all of that. So they're not really giving me very good prices here. But the treasuries look like they get like a pimple being popped. Don't you think? Okay, right there. And I still have one up there. I'll just cancel that one. Okay. There's a lot happening there in the 5-year.
More from Japan's Kishida here to hold a quad meeting in Japan in the first half of this
Do you
year.
get paid
with
from
Biden
TikTok?
visiting.
Not really. TikTok kind of has a problem with their creators right now because what happens is there's a creator fund. So there's a certain amount of money that goes into the creator fund, and then that gets equally distributed amongst the creators based on views. So the more people that are making content on TikTok, basically, the less money you're making, relatively speaking. So they probably need to change that. We do get a lot of people that come over from TikTok to YouTube and everything, though. So it really helps grow things. And the big creators over on TikTok probably can't complain too much because you get like sponsorships and that sort of thing. So unfortunately, having a really good video on TikTok doesn't mean that we can quit our jobs and hire a bunch of people and all that sort of stuff. But hey, it's a step in the right direction. And we put them on YouTube Shorts too. Hopefully one of those takes off on YouTube Shorts and we get some subscribers from that. Okay, so
1 minute remaining
far
on the Eurozone and US data. Be reading the Eurozone
I
consumer
did
confidence
see
flash first.
like some initial absorption. It wasn't enough to show up as a bubble in the Vista chart. The treasuries are still kind of trying to push into new highs and see if they're able to make it through.
Ten seconds.
Oh yeah, I forgot we do get some numbers here, huh?
Minus 8.5, minus 8.5. That's higher than the forecast of minus 9.0. With the
Okay,
US
Eurozone
leading index not out
confidence
quite yet.
and
Still waiting on that.
US leading index. Is futures BTC price the same as on other exchanges, or can it be arbitraged? It probably can be arbitraged. There's
US
probably
leading index change month on month at spot 8%.
many places that you can probably
spot 8%. Also
arbitrage in the cryptocurrency world.
Consumer confidence.
One of the things was when the Ethereum futures came out, I was like, oh, maybe we can arbitrage Bitcoin and Ethereum.
To spot 7%, spot 8%.
But I hadn't really tried messing with it because I'm just so much more interested in the traditional markets. But it would be a good, like for you, Salim, that'd probably be a really good place to look. The problem with that one is that you really costs you a lot of money to do it, but dang, I mean, they really came up there. I was really liking that, but they did not fill me there. And I'm not quite sure how close they came. I'll reset my DOM there so I can see. They went up to try and fill me, and now they head faking and they are just turning down hard.
Seeing from Japan's Kashida saying I agreed with Biden to cooperate
It's
on
not
China
like
and North
it's
Korea
not like
related
panicky
issues.
yet, but that kind of looks like that could be the start of it. I think that 250 is enough for me to do what I said I was going to do, and go flat and pretend that it never happened. Oh, you know what? I need to turn him off. I'm sorry. You shouldn't be hearing him. You shouldn't be. Now you know what I deal with when I'm like, sometimes it's hard for me to talk and stuff. It's because the British guy is in my ear. Interesting to me that yields are declining here pretty good this morning, and gold is coming off. Not really seeing the dollar move much. Gold kind of looks to be following ES to a certain extent. The squawk, yeah, but you're not. You need to, if you want the squawk, you need to pay for it. I can't. They're not going to be too happy with me if I had the squawk on all the time and you guys just listen to me instead of the squawk. $70 a month. It's a good deal, and I have an affiliate link in the video description below. And if you don't want to pay for that, they do have a delayed feed that's a few seconds delayed. But oh, he has it. Yeah, it's a good deal, guys. I have to say. I don't just put anything there in the video description. If you knew how many people come to me offering like affiliate links and stuff like that, it's there were periods post 2020 that really started to get annoying. I've turned down a lot. I only put them in there if I'm going to use it and I really believe in it. Well, so far, you're getting a decent extension above the highs in the treasuries. The 30-year is going more, so we are getting that flattening. Again, though, it's not too dire. There is a big order there in the 5 years, so we may... I wonder if we tick up and we may have like 5,700. That's a lot. Like that is a suspicious amount. I'm kind of leaning towards it's gonna pull. Let's see. Nope, they traded it. Okay, it's real. It's real that they hit it with 2,500 lots. Well, this could end up being a huge collision. Do you think there will be war? I think that I tell you what, the thing in Russia, is that what you're talking about? The thing in Russia is really tough because this is a sort of a thing that like 6 months from now, it's either going to be like, well, obviously they were going to go to war and we should have done more and we were so stupid, or it'll be like, see, like, why did anybody believe them? That was so dumb, right? So no matter what you say, you're going to look silly in a few months. But I think that what they're doing right now is a little bit unusual for Russia and is probably driven more by political considerations at home than anything else. So, saber rattling and being really public about it and everything, that doesn't seem to me like Russia really wants to go in. I think that they are just trying to use it as leverage to negotiate with Western nations and use it to drum up support at home. So I don't think that there will be like a full ground war in Ukraine, but we'll see. If the West loses its resolve and basically says, "Okay, yeah, you can take it. We're not going to do anything," but if they do it, they're going to get cut off from SWIFT, and it's gonna the Russian economy is going to be a wasteland if they do it. They're capitalizing on the West's poor leadership. I think that probably is a factor. Yeah, I don't think they'd be doing that if Donald Trump was there. But again, I don't know if that's necessarily that you want to go in, right? Like what you can do is you can saber rattle and just kind of have this continual ongoing thing, and then watch Joe Biden flop around as he says stupid stuff, right? Like he's already really undermined himself like twice now. So, the Russians could just be sitting over there just laughing about it for all we know. Okay. And they're stepping up to the big order again in the 5-year. We'll see if they hit into it again. I don't know. I think that Russia's modus operandi, though, is that they're going to come in before you even know what's going on, and make their opponents' choices all really difficult to make politically. Sitting and talking about it for 3 months and giving the West all of the opportunity in the world to decide what to do about it. That doesn't seem like what Russia does when they really want to go in, Another 1500 hit. You think Biden has Alzheimer's? I don't know if his health concerns are as serious as the internet makes him out to be, but he's certainly not his sharpest, right? Yeah, well, the thing that I find concerning about Joe Biden's behavior, because you got to remember that Joe Biden has always said stupid stuff, right? He's been running for president since forever and has ended his campaign more than once on gaffes and scandals and all sorts of other things. Like the fact that he became president is just like absolutely insane to me. It's just absolutely insane to me that even happened, right? But the thing that I find concerning, he's always been a lively fellow. Like he'll yap, and there have been some situations where he just like completely loses his train of thought and just goes like, and then moves on to something completely different. It's the most bizarre thing to watch. That is not. I don't know if that's like something that we have to be concerned about the national security of our country because of, but he's definitely not his sharpest. And I don't think that anybody thinks he is. But kind of the other problem here, here's the larger problem that Joe Biden has, is that I think that a lot of people on the left kind of said, well, yeah, Joe Biden is stupid, but he's going to do what we want him to do, right? And now what you're kind of finding, for instance, the White House's political, there you go, new high. Their political operation for the midterms is like complete disarray. So this whole idea that he could just be this figurehead spokesperson for a plutocracy behind him, kind of like what a lot of people thought that Donald Trump could be at the beginning of his presidency. In this case, it's falling apart, not because Joe Biden has gone rogue, but because the team behind him appears to be almost as incompetent as he is. Right? That's why it's really fascinating to watch media turn against him. And I really think that his gaffes on Ukraine are really, really gonna undermine, like, the war hawk neocon conservative type of people are gonna be doing everything they can to get rid of him now. Before they would kind of just put up with it, but now they're gonna want him gone. And it makes me think that maybe he won't run again. I mean, right now the polling says that people don't want him to, so you're scared your friends are getting liquidated? You were short though, right? You should be, if you stuck with that trade. Granted, you took some pretty ugly adverse excursion against that, but if you hold on to that, you should be swimming in it right now. You should be giving me, $100 tip. I'm just kidding. U.S. Navy very worried about it. They should be. They're coming after us. Alligator says feeling a bit of exhaustion. Stop gambling, says Captain Price. Are you talking to me or or air cages? You see, look, he's got the rich monkey NFT. I don't know, man. Maybe we should be emulating him, and I'll be DJ. Remember, there's like the tier list. There's like has-beens and degenerate gamblers, and I kind of think I'm probably in the degenerate gambler camp. Well, their air cages is like a step beyond that, right? So I'm not liking the action here in the micros, because it's kind of suggesting to me that we're going to get another little liquidity hole up here, and then I might not get filled. Monkey only won in 2022, 2020 year. Yeah. No, my understanding is that China is actually ahead of the US in terms of development of hypersonic missiles. It's not that they don't have one, but it's not that they haven't been as fast at developing it. That's kind of where it has been so concerning. Okay, so we got hit, and there was 7 lots hit into 745. So some stops there, maybe. Good trade though. I don't think that I want to. Well, I got out there for a reason. I just didn't like that I was getting 10 ticks and it was already slowing down and stuff. Of course, this is a situation where it could really trend and people could end up chasing it, but I was getting squeezed for a week, then Bitcoin decided to nuke down 7K. What happened? What? I still don't know if you still have it though. You're still in, right? Are you still in? Say yes, please. Oh gosh, I shouldn't break that. I clicked that in the OBS and it tries to open it in OBS. Oh, the explosive can okay. Sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it might be uh I don't know. So let's I don't know how to approach this one because I'm not going to sit and watch that whole thing right now and then try and debunk it or anything. I've seen I remember there was a story on Zero Hedge where they talked about how the military was concerned that China had developed this weapon faster than them, essentially. And they talked about a little bit about the development that they had. And that apparently part of it was that China had this facility to be able to do this kind of testing that the US doesn't have yet. You see that it's continuing through a little bit. I was being a little, man, I don't know. I'm being overly cautious here. Um, and I'm looking at it now and I'm like, I should be pushing it. I should be pushing it. But even as I see that I can't get myself to go back in and like hit 742, I think I'm going to just let them play around at 15. Then maybe we'll get another big collision. Ooh, that could be fun. Actually, you know what? You know what we could do is we could switch accounts up on this one and we could try and play as she goes at 15. Nah, we'll just watch it. And there's other big orders up above us. Man, I don't know, guys. I'm really torn here about this. Oh, jeez. Arcade. Yeah, even if you didn't go huge size, it's still a good trade, man. Good job. Now the question though is where do you where do you take your profits? It's so tough, right? Like the problem with what we do is that at some point, to some extent, you have to predict what the market's going to do. And I don't find very many things that can truly predict what it's going to do. In Bitcoin here, at least in short time frames, like on Bitcoin here, I think that we haven't seen the low in Bitcoin, but we could see like a complete collapse over the weekend. We could see it bounce over the weekend. Like both of those things seem realistic in the current climate, right? Big liquidity day. Yeah. So this move, if we're going off the order flow conditions, I would call this a market order driven market in the treasury at least. But there has been some really big offers and stuff taken off. That they market orders were able to overwhelm. So it's pretty wild. I do kind of wonder how much of this is driven by somebody trying to make a bet on like the economy's too weak, Federal Reserve's going to back off sort of a thing, and how much of this is just like short covering, you know? Okay, so that decline into 13.5 right there kind of says that Seth did the right thing. I might have been able to get another tick or two out of it, but I wouldn't have been able to get 5. And there does indeed appear to be another liquidity hole. So we may range here for a little bit before another push higher. Or it could be an inflection point and it completely reverses. It kind of depends on what the driver for the meta order is. And the issue that we're having here, like the whole problem is that I don't really know what the cause of the meta order is. Tough call. Normally I would add to a good short, but I feel like we could go back up to the 40K. Yeah. That 40K range has so much interest in it that you're likely to see a lot of chopping around it. But the larger economic environment kind of suggests that Bitcoin could just completely collapse. So we'll see what it does. They're really following the NASDAQ though, right? And the NASDAQ don't look so pretty right now. Doesn't look so pretty. We gave up on our long, and it's just been nothing but down since. Actually, probably could have made another $50 on a short if we had flipped. But that's okay. We had a good theory, and it kind of started to turn out. Oh well. Whee! Okay, there's another further. So now there's the $5. Yeah, FOMC is next week. That's correct. Now at 15, do you see how the market orders slammed through that? Yeah. Yeah, woulda, shoulda, coulda. I can still get in. I'll get in about 30 minutes. I don't know what I want to do. I think that just taking, well, you know what's something that I have a hard time with is that sometimes when I have a losing day, I'll lose like 2 or 3 times in a row. And then when I have a winning day, it's like I'll take just one really good winner and be done, you know? And when I have those winners, I should really be trying to push it. But this kind of situation, I'm reluctant to do it. I'm looking for an excuse to get back in, basically. Not gonna hold it short into FOMC. Well, but the first question is if we hold it short into the weekend, right? This move up in the treasuries is starting to get a little extreme on the chart too, by the way. So 128.16 was where the collapse from Jamie Dimon was. So we're basically back to the point at which I felt like that the market was fairly priced. Could we see a move back to 129.040 next week? That was where we were at before the hawkish FOMC minutes. Well, in order for that to happen, I think that we would have to get something out of the FOMC next week. So in terms of how much further could it go today, one spot that I do see is 128.18 is the next kind of step up that's possible. How are things? I had to go out and missed a lot. Well, the Treasury's made another pretty strong shove up. They have pushed through some pretty massive limit orders. So this is definitely turning into a trend day up in the Treasuries, dominated by market orders. I am still of the opinion, though, that this is going to be a double distribution day, not a trend day. So I took a little trade on it, and I'm kind of waiting to see what it does and kind of feeling a little FOMO right now. Wait till Auntie Yellen starts. Oh, what, is she supposed to talk? Oh, is she? Yeah, I forgot. Well, let's come back over here and look. She was maybe talking today, wasn't she? Yes. Well, 9:30. It'll be long after we're gone, unfortunately. What was that in ES? I don't know. This is a little bit of a buy sweep, wasn't it? Let me come back out here and see if I can. Well, I can't really see it. How big of a sweep it was, unfortunately. I probably would have to go into tick data, and I don't want to do that at the moment. Yeah, in an hour. Hold on a second. I'm going to choke and die here. Yeah, that seems like a really good approach, Arcages, because the concern is that there would be a decline through the weekend. So if that does happen, then we should see late in the day, like 6 Eastern time, some further decline in Bitcoin. Okay, so let's just note on the trade that we took. So we took it from here to here. We saw the hole and we took it off. It kind of moved like a tick or two beyond that and then came back. And so I said, well, I did the right thing because there was a hole. Then they shoved it further and now it's come back. So there's still a hole there. So what I should note then, or I guess what I should take away from that, is that this is the correct location for us to take a further leg up or to take an exit for that matter. But I don't have anything to tell me that it's going to continue trending up or not. And it's and it is within the cards that this is a trend up day. Yeah, if you knew the size of the position that he was in, you would be like, maybe you should be doing that. I think he showed me one time. Man, some team when we started this out originally in 2017, and we had that first stream, somebody sent me a PM, and they showed me their portfolio, and they had literally saved like $75,000. And I was like, well, this is where I think they're going to go to, and then they're bounced. They never went and got to that price. It's like, oh, if they did that and bounced, I'm going to give you like $100,000 or something. But it didn't turn out that way. But Bitcoin has just never stopped trying to pump. Never stopped trying to pump. BTC is not your cup of tea. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the whole thing. The whole problem with it is that it's basically like no matter what you're doing in Bitcoin, you're a degenerate gambler, right? We need to do that. I need to make like one of those tier list things, but instead of like A, B, C, it will be like degenerate gambler, right? Let's see here. Tier list generator. Tier maker. There we go. Make a template. Make your own template. Here, move it over here where you can see. There, so they were giving 475 for a very, very brief moment, and they moved around. So these guys over here in the micros are getting whipped around a bit. Selected category. Oh, look, then you can do finance. You have to do a bunch of orders. Oh, okay. So look, you can change the label text. So what should our labels be? Should be like scammers, has been. Oh, I don't know how to. Has been. Degenerate gambler. What should we so there's one tier of I think finance influencer is they're just not very good, right? Like all of their recommendations and everything, like Dennis Gartman, right? Dennis Gartman he's just not very good at it. What would we call that category? I because I don't think that sucks is, you know, we can do better than that. We can do better than that. And another one is, should we have a separate category for Ross? Because I don't really consider Ross a scammer per se. So is it he's just front running? I don't know. What would we put him in there? What category would we make for him? Oh, you know what? You know what? The other tier that we need. The other tier that we need is just that they're boring. Who is that? Well, I was talking about the warrior trading guy, right? So the common listen. No, I'm not accusing him of anything. What people generally say about warrior trading is that you're not going to be able to duplicate the results because he's basically trading against his followers. He'll take a position and then post it in his channel and then sell into his followers, right? Pump and dump. So I think you kind of have to be really careful about calling that like a scam per se. You know, he might I think that he would have a pretty good legal case to come in and say I'm not a scammer, right? I'm only going to put somebody in the list of scammer if they've like actively been like prosecuted or whatever. We could just put it as pump and dump. That's what we could do. That's what I think we should do, as a pump and dump. I'm not going to put the real scammers on this list. Well, only going to put people that are. He says, "Oh, that's a major scammer." I don't think it's appropriate to call it a scam. I think that maybe somebody should look into it, but I don't feel comfortable calling it a scam. We'll call it a pump and dump. Well, then we can put Elon Musk in the pump and dumps category. Right. Now we got to make a list of people that we want to put on our tier list, right? And we're going to have to go find pictures of them all and everything. Show extra rows. Cool. It's not Elon, but his dog that did the pumping. Oh man. Okay, let's make a new little thing here. Okay. And then who else were we talking? I had all of these thoughts in my name. Shamath should be on there. I don't know how you say his name. We'll put Matt. Oh, Mark Minervini. We need Mark Minervini on here. Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is a pump and dump. Mr. Beast is a pump and dump. From a finance perspective, that was a pump and dump. Then what's that? Oh yeah, Dennis Gartman. Dennis Gartman. Jim Cramer. No, Mark Minervini is a degenerate gambler in my opinion. Have you seen that thing where they're like, okay, well, what do you think is going to happen in this stock? And they asked him a question about the stock on the fundamentals. And instead of just saying, well, I don't know anything about the fundamentals, I mostly rely on technicals or something like that, he just was like, I'm having technical issues. That was so funny. You think that Elan is more of a... I don't know if I can justify having a whole category just for trolls, though, right? Where are we going to put him? What's the name? What's the guy that, is the one that's like, you want to be super frugal about everything? And by the way, this decline that we're seeing here in the treasuries is like exactly what I was worried about. Yeah, see, FTH, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like the people that I really don't trust and that I'm like, I think are like outright scammers, I'm just not going to say anything about them because I don't want to potentially give them any more exposure than they already have. Zach Morris. I've never heard that name. I'm going to put that in here in another list where I need to research. I haven't heard that one before. That was a good one. Yeah, there you go. Tim Sykes. He's a YouTuber, right? Yeah, let's put this. We'll put this little template thing over here. Actually, you know what? We don't need that. We don't need that over here anymore. So we'll just put it over. We got to put our buddies here that we can put in the has-beens. What about the Chinese guy? You talking about the Tron guy? Well, what is his name? Like one of the things there, we could have too many different categories, right? Like there's traders that are just not very good, but then there's like people that they suck at trading, so they teach. There's a couple of those out there too. maybe I shouldn't make fun of those guys. Don't throw stones from glass houses. No, I'm a degenerate gambler. I fully embrace the idea of I am a degenerate gambler. Steven Ducks. Oh, that's sounds familiar, but I'm not familiar with him, so I'll put him on a new. So I was gonna come in here. When we start getting into some of the YouTubers, when you start getting into the YouTubers, you get there's almost like too many options here. Oh my gosh, this one right here. I know you guys go and watch these guys' videos and you tell me what you think about another day. So there's a new channel that's been popping off called Day Trading Addict. It sounds like he's been day trading for a long time. And the quality, production quality and everything of his videos seems to be pretty good. But then when I watch like his videos, I'm like, this is like the most like no duh kind of content I've ever heard. Didn't get anything out of it. But he still seemed like a cool guy. See, there's Ross. Oh man, there's another person that I see on here all the time that... Who was it? I mean, we could put Graham Stephan on there. Then we would need like a tier for like actual legitimate gurus. I feel like I really like Graham. I don't think that anybody could say anything bad about Graham. Take themselves seriously. He's a good guy. Oh man. Some of the ones that it's showing me right now, I've no clue who these people are. Shelby Church tried day trading. I've never seen. I'm gonna watch that later. That's hilarious. I didn't see that. Clay Trader was the one that I was looking for. Yes. No. It's not necessarily the day trader tier list, although it is going to be focused more towards day trader. It's the financial influencer list, right? You can do all financial influencers. Financial influencer tier list, right? But we should also put Humble Trader on there. She's pretty. She's pretty big these days still. Yeah. I'm frankly probably putting them all in Degenerate Gambler, right? You guys have it. what we'll do? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll make this up. I'll get like all of the pictures for them and everything, and then on a live stream we'll do like the tier list, right? We'll go through it together and turn it into a video. Oh, Patrick Wayland. Oh, and that one has got to be. Do you guys remember him? Oh man, that one was. Does he still post stuff? Let's go look. So Patrick Wayland used to be by far and away. Man, he still has a ton. 158,000 subscribers. Far and away the. Oh yeah, he still posts stuff. So although they don't look like they're nearly as big as they once were. He used to like post every day. He would post trades or whatever, and then he came out that it was, everything that I was doing actually it really was fake. Like he came out and he admitted it, but I think that he kind of stopped being the top guy on YouTube after that. Obviously he's still doing okay, but it doesn't look like he ever because if you come back and you look at like some of his most popular videos, right? Like 2 years ago, some of these got millions of views, right? And now he's only getting like 1,000 views on some of his more recent videos, which is like what some of my, if I have a really good video, that's what mine would do. So We could put, oh, yeah, let's put John on there too. What is, yeah, no, I'm gonna be on there. Oh, here, I'll put it up here at the top, just so that you know, I'm definitely gonna be in there. And wait, here's the categories. All right, we got degenerate gambler, right? What did I have him on here? Oh yeah, here, let's move this out of the way. Pump and dump has been, right. Those that can't do teach. That's that one. We can have a totally legit section. I don't know. There's some people like, for, because the thing is I think that whatever category I'm gonna put you in, it's got to be funny in some way. Like, I want it to be funny, but not like I'm accusing you of being dishonest per se, right? So some of these guys, like, I don't know how good John Grady does or trades. I could put him into those that can't do teach. Because I think he probably, I mean, he totally trades. Maybe he makes money, maybe he doesn't, but he probably makes more money from from his webinars. The Nigerians, oh man, that's a tough one too. We need something like Wall Street Bets, where every viewer puts a limit order in the market and creates a liquid wall with limit orders. Yeah. And then what would happen is that somebody would come in and smack us all out and stop us out. I don't think that would end very well. Yeah. If I had held on to that trade all the way, I would have stopped out. Right. Because I was getting out at 45. I got in at 55. We could have just completely reversed and made a really good trade, but I didn't have anything to make me think that it was going to reverse necessarily. I was just like unsure what was going on. Ooh, the oil was been taken off the last 30 minutes here too. Actually, that all kind of coincided there at kind of the bottom of the hour. I don't recall hearing, did I have something going on? Yeah, I have financial juice going. I don't remember hearing anything, but yeah, I got Humbled Trader on that list. I'll put her as degenerate gambler. Totally legit. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's got to be a category for people that I really do or appear to be like really good people to listen to, but it's still funny somehow, right? So I got to think through what the categories can all be. Oh, we should put him in here. Roaring. Oh yeah. Where would you put? No, Roaring Kitty is definitely the degenerate gambler category. Man, most of these people are going to go in degenerate gambler, right? Maybe the category should be rich, something to do with their rich, but not. Richer than you'll ever be. So we can put Roaring Kitty in that one because that guy made a bunch of money on there. You know what, though? We could also put Roaring Kitty in the has been because the GME thing took off and happened, and now it's done and over with. I think we can do better than just having one that's like legit. Some say he is still holding. He probably is. He took some profits, but yeah. Hey, wow, the S&P 500 is all the way back up and is completely recovered. What was it that happened down there at the bottom that flipped it around so hard? That is very curious order flow, wouldn't you say? Did somebody say something 30 minutes ago? I don't understand. Yeah, it was about 30 minutes ago. I haven't heard any news since then. It's just trading. Traders gonna trade, I guess. Look at the bowling in your Vista chart. Oh, you know what? If I added it on there, I don't think that it would show us the past history, unfortunately. Which one would that be? Is that this one? Oh, hey, maybe it actually flip chart. Is that what it is? Total depth flip. Let's come into the settings here. When I look at the delta on it, it just looks like a reasonable turnaround. I don't know. The thing though is that so much has changed. Like all of the correlations flipped there for no reason. The flip. Is it better if I give it more levels or less levels? It's not really showing you what you want to see, is it? This, at least to me, is typical behavior when the 200 is being hit. It could totally just be, you know, completely market driven self-excitation sort of stuff. It's just really curious to me how clearly it flipped. Well, one thing was that when the flip started, there was some pretty clear action in the dollar there. You can see gold coming back off of all that. I don't know. It's something that seems like it could be news, but since we don't see anything, what percentage of your trading style is fundamental versus technical? Oh man. I don't know how I could say like what percentage of it is what, you know. I would say it's mostly fundamental. But my definition of fundamental is very different from other people's, right? I'm a lot of things that I'm looking for fundamental are also kind of technical things. This is like anything that can predict future orders. Today seems like the end. We shall see. It's a pretty good flip though. I wish my Vista chart would zoom out a little bit more for me. There we go. There was some dip buying back there. So let's come back and the depth tuner, turn that up a little bit. That's a little bit better. Okay, but now that I can see that, there is some profit taking up here in the 70s. So maybe the category should be rich enough that they can say whatever they want. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about it. I was hoping that you guys would have some ideas, but I'm gonna have to think about it myself, I guess. I guess if you want something done, you gotta do it yourself. I don't know if I don't think that you can say that today is the end of the equity sell-off, simply because the action that we're seeing today is probably very much to do with the options expiration that we got today. And there's still going to be all sorts of wild and crazy things happening next week because of FOMC. So I don't think that we're into a new market phase quite yet. Even if maybe they do kind of back off here. Yep, FOMC is on Wednesday. Is there anybody else we should put on this list? Put Gary on there. It probably should be on there too. It's gonna come to me. I'm just gonna sit here for a little bit and think about it. What are the other categories that I should have on here? Maybe there should be one. Maybe there should be a category that they're just lucky. They're probably just lucky. I'll write that down. Just lucky. Or probably lucky. We can put. Well, I can put Graham. We could put Graham Stephan in the probably just lucky category, because really it was the YouTube that made him take off. That could totally have gone another way for him, or he could have gotten in a bad market, because he was mostly doing real estate stuff, right? So He could have been, what if he had started real estate in 2020, right? Then I don't think that he would be where he is today, right? Basically what it means is that they probably do deserve our respect, but since we can't prove anything, we're not going to give it to him. Maybe the category shouldn't be those that can't do teach, but rather the category should be something to do with they're making more money from teaching than they are trading. Rishi Narang? I've never heard of them. Maybe I have. Hedge fund trader. Oh man, he's got like an epic beard going on there. Oh, he's the black box guy. Do we need to put Taleb on there too? Where would I put Nicholas Taleb? Is there a category for Nancy Pelosi? No, because Nancy Pelosi is not I would not consider to be a financial influencer. She's not an influencer. She's an insider. But an influencer has to be they're actively putting themselves out on social media and putting themselves out there. Right? I'm not going to shouldn't go picking on anybody that is just keeping to themselves. Or, just as attracted attention because they're good. Which is probably going to be where your top hedge fund guys are going to fit. Plastic surgery influencer. I like the you're making more more from teaching category. I can put a lot of people in that. It's kind of funny because anybody that oh, you know what? I gotta go. I'm sitting here like I'm still feeling like I'm missing something. I was gonna say anytime that you make money, you kind of have to sit and think, maybe I was just lucky, right? But you're right. We always want to attribute our success to ourselves and other people's success to luck. So, okay, guys, I gotta get going. I will see you guys next week. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.